What's going on, everybody? Hey, what's happening? What's doing? What's shaking, everybody? Welcome to the 100th episode of McRae Live. I'm gassed. I'm all out. Hey, I got a little hat on here. All right, there we go. You can't actually see it. It's going to be out of frame. Wait, if I sit back like this, you can kind of see it. What's going on, everybody? 100. What's going on? What's going on? Great to see everybody here. This is episode 100 of McRae Live. You know, and I was thinking to myself, there were a couple of options on the table of what I could do for a 100th episode, and there were a couple of people that I was trying to line up that it just the schedules didn't line up. I'm not going to tell you who those were because there's still a chance that I can get them on. But I was trying to line it up for today, and it's just the schedules just didn't pan out. And I've been so busy over the last couple of weeks, ever since the Indiegogo campaign ended for It's Me, Billy, because we're now neck deep into pre-production. And things have just ramped right up. Bruce and I finished the shot list the other day, so we've sent the script and the shot list off to our DP. We're meeting with our DP next week. We're also meeting with the actors next week. We're finalizing the crew. We're getting all the props in order. We have to hire there's so many things we have to do. So it's been really hard to try and coordinate everybody's schedules. But nonetheless, I thought to myself, well, you know what? I'm just going to jump on. And I'm just going to I'm just going to talk. I'm just going to talk to you guys and be with you guys, because at the end of the day, you know, what really matters is this community. And what really matters is the community that we've built here, that we continue to build, talking horror movies and Halloween and what I've done over the last, or what we've done over the last 3 years or so. It's hard to believe that I started doing this on the regular in 2017. And it's crazy to think. Now, again, for those of you that might be new or not a regular watcher, I've actually had this YouTube channel for 14 years. I've had it since 2006, but I wasn't really doing anything with it. And it wasn't until 2017 when I started to do this kind of thing, not McRae Live, but upload videos and do that kind of thing. And here we are 3 years later. There's an incoming call on my phone, and I have no idea who that is. So it's just kind of crazy to think that we're well into 3 years of doing this. And we started doing McRae Live at the beginning of the year. We're celebrating 100 episodes today, which is unbelievable. And again, I mean, this was sort of, you know, an experiment. It was easier for me to do live shows on the regular than it was uploading standalone pre-recorded videos. It's not that I won't do that. I uploaded one yesterday. Who knows? Maybe by the end of the year in 2021, we'll switch back to doing pre-recorded, uploaded videos. I have no idea. But the reason I did it is because of scheduling. And it's easier for me to do this kind of thing than it is to record a video. Because when you do this kind of show live, you do have to prepare for it and you prep for it. But once you're on, like I am right now, and recording and it's done, it's done. There is no, when you do a pre-recorded video, there's all the prep, and then there's the recording, and that could take you a couple hours to record, and then there's the editing, and then it could be like a 7-8 hour thing depending on what video you're doing. So, but I could go back to that, they're always fun to do. But I thought, since I couldn't organize the 100th episode that I wanted to organize, I thought I would jump on here and just talk to you guys and hang out and talk movies and Halloween and horror, but more specifically, like the thumbnail said, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And there is something specific I want to talk about when it comes to Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I was thinking about this. I think I've thought about this on a number of occasions, but I was thinking about this. Guys, can you hang on just 1 second? I realize I don't have my bottle of water here. Just 1 second. I will be back in just 2 seconds. Sit tight. I'll be right back. And we're back. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Yeah, that's right. 4 hours later. Can you imagine? That'd be so funny. On like an April Fool's, I just say, I'll be right back. Hang on 1 second. I put the thing up and I go and I just leave it on all day. I never come back. Never, never, never. You need the water when you're doing this. And when you're talking as much as I do, you definitely need the water. So, you know, I've thought about this. I kind of thought about this, and you know, maybe it's because I'm thinking about it again now, because there really is nothing to think about when it comes to Halloween. I mean, I've pretty much exhausted the original Halloween from top to bottom in terms of things we can figure out and find out and insights I can offer you guys, although I'm sure there's probably some other things. But I started to think about the series, and I started to think about the franchise and Halloween Kills and Ends and all that kind of jazz. And I was thinking about Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and how Halloween 4 is probably, and again, I mean, it's all relative, right? It sucks that, you know, we live in a world where I have to preface my thoughts by saying this, but if I don't, and if you think I don't have to, create a YouTube channel and start talking. But Dave, you said, this is just what happens. Dave, you said, there's a GIF for you, or a GIF, whatever they want to call it. So here's the thing is that I've always thought that Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, was probably the best sequel after Halloween 2 when it comes to Michael Myers. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, Halloween 18 is the best. Well, I think Halloween 18 is the best sequel since probably Halloween 2 and 4. Like, I mean, depending on what I like better, it might depend on the day or the mood. And again, it's relative, right? I mean, I'm not saying that Halloween 4 is a fantastic Halloween movie. It's really in comparison to, right? It's because everything largely after Halloween 4. I know some people like Halloween 6 a lot, and that's fine, but I think Halloween 6 gets praised largely because of Halloween 5. I mean, you have 4, and then you have such a drop-off. You have such a catastrophic failure in Halloween 5. You know what I mean? I mean, it's night and day. That when you have Halloween 6, it's not that Halloween 6 is this great movie per se. It's just that it's coming after Halloween 5. So, you know, it might look better than it really is. But, I mean, the story is garbage. Yeah, 4's or 6 has got better atmosphere. It's got, you know, fall and all that kind of stuff. But the story is still dog shit. But Halloween 4, I think, is that I've always said that the mask aside, it's a decent return for what Halloween would have been at that time. You know, I mean, you can't, because of the golden age of slashers and we moved away from the theater of the mind and now we're more in the blood, guts, and gore. And even by 88, the slasher subgenre was declining. It was on its way down. But I think for like all things considered, you look at Halloween 4 and you go, yeah, you definitely see the spirit of the original there, like attempting to try and bring a little bit of the spirit there. I think Loomis is great in it. Loomis, that movie has one of my favorite Loomis lines of all time. You know, 6 bodies, Sheriff! A filling station in flames! I'm telling you, Michael Myers is here in this town! He's here to kill that little girl and anybody who gets to this man! I mean, it's one of the great, you know, performances of his career. Certainly as Dr. Loomis. I think it's an acceptable sequel. I think it's okay. When you look at what it is at that point, no, it's nowhere near as good as the original. And I don't even like it as much as Halloween 2, but I think all things considered, it's okay, you know, but that also could be because Halloween 5 is such a catastrophic failure. And, you know, so it might make 4 and 6 appear maybe a little bit better than they are. But nonetheless, I've always thought 4 was a decent return to the franchise. I don't think, you know, because you had the anthology route with Halloween 3 and that didn't, you know, work, and then you didn't immediately jump into Halloween 4, you know, I mean, you waited, what was it? 3, 4, 5, 6 years. I mean, you waited 6 years before you brought Michael Myers back. And like I said, by 1988, the slasher subgenre was on its decline. It wasn't dead, but it was on the down curve. You've heard me say that 1,000 times, right? The golden age is really like, well, if you really want to get into it, the golden age, I mean, we could say 78, but that's really the beginning of it. The golden age is really like 80 to 85. You know what I mean? And then by the time, you might be able to lump 86 in there, but barely. Once you get to 87, you're going down. 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92. And then by the time you hit the bottom, you're dead, right? Halloween 4 is acceptable. Like I said, it's a decent little return. But it has an awesome ending. An ending that probably either you were like, oh, come on, or like, oh. But when I was thinking about Halloween 4, I was thinking to myself, you know, okay, so you have the perfect ending in the series, which is Halloween. Well, it's not even a series. In Halloween 1, right? That's the perfect ending. That's the intended perfect ending. Then you have the sequel. Okay, we have a sequel. Oh, okay, but he burns alive. Okay. Right, okay, he burns alive. So now you have the perfect ending after the intended perfect ending. You have pretty much Halloween 2's ending is like, what are you going to do? Okay, we're going to burn him. Okay, great. Now that'll solidify everything, right? But then you have to bring him back. And it's kind of like, well, what do you do now? You know, I mean, what do you do? Like, you, short of burning him, I mean, what do we do? So they shoot him. He falls down a mine shaft or whatever it is, a well or grave, whatever the fuck it is. Is he dead? Well, you know, I don't know. But then you see Jamie Lloyd standing at the top of the stairs, holding the knife. Michael Myers. Sorry, Dr. Loomis, excuse me. No! I still think it would have been amazing if he had unloaded on her. And Jamie's going, can you imagine? Would never have got past the MPAA. But can you imagine how amazing that would have been? Yo, come on, it would have been. Come on, stop. Dave, that wouldn't have been. Oh, come on. Blood spurting all of it. He's killing a child. It's not a child. It's evil on 2 legs. That's right, Edwin Sordo. That would be in the McRae cut. You're damn right it would be in the McRae cut. That's right. And all of a sudden, and then Meeker comes around the corner and he stops Loomis, but then he looks up and he sees Jamie there taking like 6 shots and she's not doing anything. So he takes out that massive gun. And she's just getting riddled with blood. Oh, man. Giving nightmares to people. But it's a great ending, right? And it ends on a cliffhanger. I know this is not necessarily a popular opinion, and maybe it's my, I hate to say maybe it's my age, because I don't want, that sounds pretentious, and I don't mean it to sound that way, and it's not like I'm, 95 years old, I'm 41. But I think I'm old enough that I've seen, as a lot of us are, that we've seen the change in fandom and not necessarily for the better. And, just the gimme, want, need. It's like you can't leave anything ambiguous. It's like you can't leave it up to the audience to figure it out. Sometimes things don't need explanations, or sometimes, the filmmakers can treat their audience like they're not fucking numpties and they can figure it out. And I like movies like that. Not ambiguous endings that are so ambiguous that you're like, yeah, this is dumb. But I mean endings that don't require an explanation, but the explanation is in the nuances and details. If you think about it, if you just figure it out, pay attention. It's there. You don't need any more. And I think Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, I've often thought, because I don't like any movie past that. I really don't. I don't like 5. 6 is better than 5. 6 is better than 5. But it's largely because 5 is such a dumpster fire. It's not that 6 is a great movie. The story's garbage. I don't care if you're watching the theatrical cut or the producer's cut. It's dog shit. I don't care. Yes, the producer's cut gives you more context, but it gives you context of a fucking shitty story. So it's not, yes, there's more Loomis and but who cares? It's not like it's a different, I mean, you have fucking Michael Myers switching outfits with Dr. Wynn and walking off into the, what the hell is this? He's dressed as the man of, it's dog shit, folks. It's dog shit. Great atmosphere, but it's dog shit. So let's just say it. 5 is shit. 6 is shit. You know, at the end of the day. H2O, oh God. Resurrection, Rob Zombie. I mean, it's just everything after 4, for me, is the trajectory. And there might be pockets of, oh, that was okay, you know, but largely 4 is, and I'm talking about the series, because I've had people come back at me and say, well, actually, Dave, it all started with Halloween 2. Yes, it did. Yes, because the original is a one-off. It was supposed to be a one-off. So you could even say that Halloween 2 ruined everything. And from a certain point of view, you are absolutely correct. You are 100% correct. They made it more violent. They instilled the motive, the brother-sister thing. And yes. But if we're talking about it being a franchise and being a series, I think 2 is beloved. People like 2. And I think it is, as far as a franchise goes, and you're going to continue it, it's fine. And then you have 4, where it's like, okay, well, I guess if we're going to bring him back from being burned, the only thing that's lame in that film, of course, is how does he see, right? It's never really divulged or explained how he can see. But at least we don't see his eyes. I mean, let's not forget that Halloween 5 is also canon with the rest of the series, and we see Michael shedding a fucking tear. What the hell is that? What the hell? Anyway, I'm not even gonna get into this. So, at least 4, you don't see his eyes, and maybe his eyes are fucked up, and maybe he's firing at 15% vision. I mean, who the hell knows? We don't know. Maybe he's mostly doing this in the dark. I mean, we have no idea. But 4 has one of those endings where I've thought long and hard about this, and I know this is not going to be a popular opinion per se, but I'm just going to say it. How awesome would it have been if Halloween 4 was the end of the franchise? How amazing would that have been if Halloween 4 was the end? Because when you think about, again, you didn't need any sequels because the original wrapped up everything. It wrapped up the moral, the message. You know, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. What Jamie Lee Curtis actually says is it was the boogeyman. That's not my opinion. That is fact. That is what she says, despite what people want to say she says or what it sounds like she says. I know what it sounds like she says, but that is actually what she said. And I have videos on my channel where I talk about that. And the reason why she says it was the boogeyman, and there's the emphasis on is because for the whole movie, she doesn't believe there is a boogeyman. You know, Laurie, what's the boogeyman? There's no such thing. You know, all this kind of stuff, right? And then, at the end of the movie, her saying it was the boogeyman is basically her saying, oh my fucking God, Tommy was right. And Dr. Loomis says, as a matter of fact, it was. And when he looks over the balcony and the boogeyman's gone, he's not gone to set up a sequel. He's gone to bring the message home, which is you can't kill the boogeyman. So it was perfect. It was great. And the moral in terms of fate and what the teacher was talking about in the classroom about fate and her meeting her fate and her destiny, it's all wrapped up there at the end of the movie too. However, if you are to continue it, the ending of Halloween brings it home again. It's unnecessary what they've done. It's like they're kind of but they've brought it home. And it is sort of full circle. Michael is dead. Okay. The only thing with Halloween 4 is that if he could survive being burned alive, there's nothing, I mean, he does take a lot of shots. He does take quite a bit of, he takes quite a bit of rounds, to the chest. So, but there's the only thing that makes me a little is that the burning of Michael at the end of 2 feels more complete, feels more devastating, feels more like, yes, as an audience member, I could buy into him now being dead. 100%. He's dead. He burned alive. Nobody survives that, It feels more, yes, I believe that. With 4, it still feels like there's a chance he could come back. And maybe that's a good thing. Because if they never made any others after 4, then it kind of works. So basically what I'm saying is that when you have Jamie at the top of the stairs and she's there and she's got the knife in her hand, no. I mean, it brings it full circle. It helps to hammer home the message of, evil never dies, right? You can't kill the boogeyman, so to speak, because it's not necessarily, whatever it was that was in Michael, whatever it is, I'm not saying it's a supernatural entity, but whatever it was, evil, right? You can't quantify evil. That's the thing, is that we can point to acts that we consider evil acts, but evil in and of itself, you can't really quantify or measure. It's like love, right? Love's a feeling, but we can measure it in the sense of, we can point to things that we do when we feel love, but it's not, you can't measure it objectively. And it's the same thing with evil. And so when she's standing at the top of the stairs and he's there and Loomis is losing it because it's like, oh my God, not again. Oh my fucking God, not again. And it's like, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? And there it is. There she is at the top of the stairs. There is evil at the top of the stairs. It's starting again. Hit my head on the fucking thing. It's starting again. And when you think about his cries, no, he was going to fucking shoot her. And if Meeker had not stepped in, what would have happened? He would have blown Jamie away. He would have blown Jamie away. We have no reason to think that he wouldn't have. There is no reason to think that he would not have. He would have. He would have killed that, however old she is in the movie. What is she, like 10 or something? He would have killed her. And then Loomis would have gone to prison, obviously, for killing the child. That's interesting to me. And listen, I understand from a marketing perspective and from the movie and the brand. Of course, Michael's the brand. I get it. No, I get all that. But I'm again, I'm thinking in a fantasy land because I do understand this is business. And if a movie does well, they're going to continue it. And Michael Myers is the face and the brand. I get all that. But I'm just thinking of how cool it would be if we lived in a world where that was the last Halloween until until now. And maybe you don't get Halloween 18 the way you do. I mean, listen, I understand that people love Halloween 18. There's a lot of people that do. I know Todd Fair is going to pipe in and say it was, yeah, we understand, Todd. We understand. And I understand that it certainly has its fans. I didn't hate Halloween 18. I mean, hate's a strong word. I didn't hate it. I hate Halloween 5. I didn't hate that movie. I thought it was fine. I mean, you've heard me say it. I thought it was a very good modern day slasher movie, but it wasn't a great Halloween movie. And I think it was largely a film of missed opportunities. What they did well, they did really well, which is what made the things they didn't do well more frustrating. But anyway, it's not a bad movie or anything. But I often wonder, I'm just thinking, I think about these things, when I'm lying in bed or when I have some downtime and I'm not working on It's Me, Billy, or doing the voiceover work or whatever. I think about these kinds of things. And I think how cool that would be. Imagine if that was the last thing we saw for decades. That was it. That was it. There was nothing else. Think about that. That moment. Top of the stairs. Jamie standing there. Dr. Loomis. No. Dun, 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 dun. Cuts to black. Credits roll. Decades. Nothing. What the fuck? I mean, and then you could do a sequel with Danielle Harris in the same timeline. There is no 5 or 6 or H2O or Resurrection or Rob Zombie's films. Imagine those didn't exist. Now, I know for some of you that's not a good thing because you really like those movies. And I understand that, but I'm asking you to humor me here for a second because the ending of that movie brings it full circle. The ending of Now, the ending of H2O does, okay? It does in terms of Laurie. It does. But it's more in line with Laurie than it is with the idea of the original intent, which was you can't kill evil, you can't kill the boogeyman. Because what Laurie does at the end of Halloween H2O, as far as we knew until Resurrection came out, was she killed the boogeyman. She destroyed evil. And it has a very important arc. And there's nothing wrong with that arc. It's a very good arc, actually. It's a redemption arc. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to go back to the original intent, it was never about that. It was about that, no, evil is out there. He'll always be it. He or it will always be out there in whatever form that is, whether it's Michael Myers, whether it's, John Wayne Gacy, Charles Manson. I mean, pick your poison, right? I mean, Freddy Krueger, Jason. It will always be out there. Evil will always exist. And it was a great message. So Halloween H2O is great for her redemption arc. But I think that the ending of Halloween 4 better serves the original intent because it keeps the message of evil never dies, and that you can't kill the boogeyman. Is Michael dead? I don't know. I have no idea. He was shot and he's down at the end of who fucking knows? Is he dead? I don't know. Is he? I don't know. But I think it's a really cool idea if we had never had another one. And if you think that ending is iconic now, can you imagine if there was never another one? Now, I do have a McRae live on my channel a month or two ago where I talk about what I would have done with a Halloween 5. So you can check that out. Just type in McRae live Halloween 5 and it should come up. And I go into great detail on my idea of what I would have done with a Halloween 5. And I think maybe I'm a little biased, but I do think it is a better idea and would have been a better installment and story than the dog shit that we got. However, I do acknowledge that you really didn't need anything after 4. And again, I understand the business side of things, but I think it would have been so great, from just a selfish sort of, how cool that would be. And then, like I said, you fast forward a couple of decades, you can then do a direct sequel to Halloween 4 with Danielle Harris. And I would love to have been in the writer's room for that. Because it's like, oh, the juices flow on what do we do? What happened to this 10-year-old girl? Did she become Michael Myers? Is Michael Myers dead? Right? There's so many things you could explore there. What happened to her, right? And then at that point as well, if you end it there, Rachel Carruthers is still alive. And Rachel Carruthers, everybody loves Rachel, right? Rachel would still be alive. She'd still be alive. There's so many things you could do after that. And I think it would be I don't know what that is. I have some ideas, but I don't know what specifically that is. But I think there's a lot of things, there's a lot of directions you could go. And I think if Halloween 4 was the last, then again, at the same time, you do have to acknowledge, would the character of Jamie be as popular? Because there is no part 5. And as dog shit as Halloween 5 is, it is a movie with Danielle Harris and Jamie Lloyd. And it does have its fans. And then, of course, there would never have been the controversy with Danielle Harris not being in Halloween 6, right? And being shafted by the producers and there is, although I do think, it's kind of not so much anymore, but there's definitely that almost like, when we think of Danielle Harris and we think of Halloween, a lot of fans automatically think about the fact that she was fucked over. And she was. Even Malika Akkad said, yeah, pretty much, right? That would not exist. So would we have the same affection and empathy for Danielle Harris and the character of Jamie Lloyd as we do now if Halloween 4 was where it ended? Would Danielle Harris be as popular today in the horror circles, as popular today, if there was no 5 and the controversy was 6, or Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. I mean, those are legit things you have to think about. You know, it's easy to say, hey, that's where it ended, and people would be dying for a, follow-up to Halloween 4 with Danielle Harris. Would they? Would they be dying for a follow-up to Halloween 4 with Danielle Harris? I don't know. Now, yeah, but there's a lot of baggage that helps to perpetuate that desire and need for possibly something like that. And if the baggage is not there, do we care? Do we care? Do we care about a follow-up to Halloween 4? Or is it just one of those movies that we're like, oh, that was a really cool ending. Yeah, I wonder what happened next. I don't know. Fuck. Crazy. Yeah, crazy. Then you just kind of move on with your life. But I can't help but feel that to me, it has the best, 5, garbage, 6, garbage, H2O, garbage to me. I don't, the ending to Resurrection, garbage. Rob Zombie's, garbage. 4 is the only one that really brings it full circle from the original intent. I know people like H2O, and like I said, they're going to go, oh, but she killed Eva. Yeah, but that's changing the message. Yeah, but there was resurrection. Well, yeah, I know, but it's lame. At that time, we didn't know. So I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? If you're watching this show after the fact, comment below and let me know. Do you think, would you have liked the series to have, now think about this as objectively as you can from an artistic integrity standpoint, from the point of the health of the series, right? And maybe the longevity of the series. And not these crappy installments and choose your own adventure shit. Really think about this. What if it did end at the end of Halloween 4? It brings it full circle. Oh my God, Loomis is staring at a child again. Is it starting again? Oh my God. Full circle, baby. Boom. And that's it. It's like, oh shit, what a great message. What do you think of that? I love it. But you guys know me. I mean, I'm Mr. Ambiguity. But I love the mystery of that, not knowing what happened. And sometimes it's okay to not know. We don't have to know everything. Nothing irritates me more in fandom today, apart from butthurt Star Wars fans. Nothing annoys me more today than, yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, fuck, just fill it in. Think. Do you need to know everything? Every little, and I don't think it was like this when we were growing up. As a matter of fact, I know it was. It doesn't mean that fans didn't have questions, and it doesn't mean it's not okay to ask those things, right? I'm being satirical to make a point, obviously. But I think that what bothers me, and I think the internet and the ease of access to information at our fingertips has really destroyed a lot of the mystique and mystery of just enjoying things for what they are. Everybody needs to know every fucking detail now of everything. It's like, I think we should have a Loomis backstory. We don't need it. It's not needed, and it would destroy it because you don't want any other character beyond Michael to be more powerful than Michael when it comes to Loomis. Michael should be the quintessential sort of, patient when it comes to Dr. Loomis, right? You don't want to know his backstory, and all of a sudden we see all these other patients and things he's going through. Why do we need this? Why? Why do fans need this? Why? Why can't we just say he was a doctor who lived an ordinary life, who came across this fucking weird kid and then shit hit the fan? That's all we need to know. That's it. No, we need to know everything. What did he wear for breakfast? What did he wear for breakfast? What did he have for breakfast? What did he wear in the morning? Was he married? Did he have kids? What did he, I don't know. What kind of car did he drive? Well, we know the car he drove, but was that his first car? Did he always have his goatee? Did he shave his goatee? Was he, what high school did he go to? Who cares? Who cares? But we live in a world of fandom now where that is part of it. And I understand it, but I guess maybe I'm just, and again, it sounds so pretentious to say because I'm not old. I'm only 41, but I feel like I'm of an age where it's not that I don't care about certain things and that certain details should be explained. You can't be, ambiguous for the sake of being ambiguous. You always have to have an intent behind the ambiguity. But it always astounds me how, like, people can't just leave anything alone. Like, who cares? Who cares? Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Why do you need to know everything? Why do you have to destroy the mystique of everything and strip it down, rip it apart, shred it into pieces so you can get a good look at it so there's nothing of any mystery anywhere? It destroys everything. And part of the reason why, and you've heard me say this, part of the reason why people love the character of Michael Myers, maybe even, there's a variety of reasons, but maybe even a little more than Freddy and Jason, is because, you may not realize this consciously, but is because of the mystery and the mystique that surrounds the character. If we knew everything there was to know about Michael, he wouldn't be as cool as he was. There wouldn't be this continuous sort of, continue, like there wouldn't, like, we always feel like we're on this journey of discovery with Michael. Like we're this close to figuring it all out, and we never do. And we should never do. We should never figure it out. We should never figure it out, right? That's part of, like, we've all heard the saying, the journey is sometimes better than the destination, right? It's the journey that is exciting. It's that anticipation, that suspense, that on the cusp of something. And then when you get to the destination and you figure it all out, it's going to piss off some people. It's going to, please others. But if you always keep the ambiguity there, you please everybody, for the most part. Anyway, I think Halloween 4's ending is so great that if the series had ended there and they were talking about doing a sequel to that movie now, I'm very curious to see what the response would be like and what kind of movie you could do. And that doesn't mean you couldn't bring Michael Myers back because we don't know what happened. But it's just so rich with potential in terms of the characters, with Jamie and Rachel and Meeker even, and and you could bring Brackett in. You could still bring Laurie in. You could say that she was, you could figure it out, even though she supposedly died. You could still bring her back in some way. And then you could have Danielle Harris as her daughter because it makes sense. Anyway, but I think there's a lot of potential there. And I've always thought that ending is so good, and it continues to put forward the message of evil never dies in a very sort of poetic full circle way. Yeah, you could say, well, the end of Halloween 5 says evil never dies. No, but it doesn't connect it. It doesn't connect it. It doesn't bring it full circle, right? Neither does Halloween 6. Neither does Halloween, H2O. Neither does Halloween Resurrection. It doesn't bring it back to the roots and go, and as if it's cyclical, right? And it's starting again. And that's what Halloween 4 does. Halloween 4 brings it back and as if we're starting again. And that is why Loomis is having that kind of reaction. He's not having that reaction because, not just because he's discovered, like, he probably wouldn't have had that reaction if Michael Myers had showed up. Do we think that Loomis would have had that reaction if Michael Myers had showed up? No, I don't think he would have, because he expects it. He expects that to happen. Even if he doesn't realize it consciously, subconsciously, there's probably doubt somewhere because he knows him. It's Michael Myers, right? But he didn't expect Jamie Lloyd. He didn't see that coming. None of us did. And that is fucking scary. We didn't see it coming. and that the pain on his face, the ankle, he's there. No, he was going to shoot the child. He was going to blow her away. That is how fucking scared he was. That is how desperate he was. He was going to blow her away. And Meeker stopped him. Now it's perfect. It's a great ending in that regard. It brings it full circle. 5, 6, 7, 8 don't do that. They don't do that. They're just horror movie endings. I think it would have been amazing. Hey, if you're watching after the fact, comment below and let me know your thoughts. I would love to know. Let's go over to the chat room and see what you guys are saying, because I would love to know what you guys are saying. But that's how I feel about it. Now, I know that there are many people that are emotionally attached to Halloween, 5 and 6 and 7, and that's fine. I'm asking you to, humor me and think about this, because I'm thinking about it for the health of the franchise. I'm thinking about it for the health of the, of the series is why, and keeping consistency with continuity there. And I think it would have been amazing. I really do. But, you would have had to have, not done another one. Listen, Moustapha Akkad, I know he's the godfather of Halloween. But, he made some really dumb decisions, and naturally I want Michael Myers to go on and on and on and on and on, because he just wants the money. He didn't care about the series. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about that. He just wanted Michael Myers to go on. There were a lot of decisions that the filmmakers wanted to do that I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. And Moustapha Akkad was like, no. And his alternative was just garbage. Anyway, I'm not coming down on the guy. I'm just saying that's the fact. Sometimes, somebody needed to pull Moustapha Akkad aside. Somebody who knew him well, maybe Deborah Hill, although she wasn't really involved in those other ones. None of them were. See, that's the thing. That's the problem. I'm not saying that Moustapha Akkad surrounded himself with yes men, but he needed somebody he trusted to be like, Moustapha, we shouldn't do this, but I don't know if anybody did, Yeah, it's crazy. Let's go to some of your super chats here. Anna M. Pop sends in a £5.49 super chat. Happy 100th, Dave. Thank you so much, Anna. Really appreciate that. Intel Wild sends in $20, says happy 100th, Dave. Thank you very much, Intel Wild. Really appreciate that, buddy. Cobra Dojo sends in a £5 super chat, says, Dave, you need to let this go, dude. No H5 equals no H18 kills and ends. Come to peace with it like the Friday 4 retcon tombstone. Well, I would be okay if there was no H18 kills or ends. So no H5 no H5 equals no H18 kills and ends. Okay. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that. Yeah. No H5 equals no H18 kills and ends. That is true. And I would be okay with that. So I'm not sure kind of what you're getting at there, but it's my show and I'll talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. I'm just busting your balls, buddy. Let's see here. Intel Wild says, shout out to Sean from Fandom Empire in the chat. I don't know if you heard, Dave, but they are doing an Indiegogo Halloween fan film. Good luck to them. I did not hear about that. That is really cool. Okay. Pretty cool stuff. There's Sean right there. Fandom Empire says, thanks for the shout out, Intel. It's actually a direct sequel to H4. Oh, that's kind of funny. I'm just talking about that. This is our H5, meaning Dave will hate it. Sean, it's dog shit. No. It'll probably be a lot better. Details are revealed tonight. Ooh, tonight. Teaser poster and perks at 8 Eastern. Happy 100th, Dave. See you soon. Thanks very much, buddy. Really appreciate that. Make sure you tune into Fandom Empire, folks, to check that out. 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Very, very, very cool. Let's see here. There was, I think, a Frank Riker. I saw Frank. Where are you, Frank? Where are you? There you are, my man. Frank says, Dave, happy 100th. In part 5, Jamie's costume should be, do you mean a hair dirty? Too small Halloween costume for 4, and Rachel protecting her from Loomis. Dave, in part 5, Jamie's costume should be dirty. It's too small. Halloween costume from 4 and Rachel protecting her from Loomis. I guess you're saying that the costume in Halloween 5 should have been dirtier. It was too small. It should have been the one from 4 with Rachel protecting her from Loomis. I agree. I mean, I've often said that it was a catastrophic failure, Halloween 5, all around, and to make the creative decision to kill Rachel off was ridiculous. And like I said, if you watch my McRae Live where I give my Halloween 5, I keep Rachel alive. There is no Tina. I mean, Tina might be in it, but she doesn't take over per se. And Halloween 5 should have been continuing the story of not just Jamie, but Rachel, that relationship, because it builds on the arc. You start with a girl who doesn't hate her foster, sister. It's not like Rachel hates her, but she's new, and Rachel's of an age, she's a teenager. She wants to go out. She wants to be with her friends. She's dating, and Rachel Jamie ends up being, it's kind of a strong word, but she ends up being a bit of a burden. Do you know what I mean? And it's not that she doesn't like her, but it's kind of, it's an adjustment, especially at that age. It's an adjustment. If Rachel and Jamie had been of the same age, then it would have been like, oh my God, do you know what I mean? Like my best friend, I have a sister who's my age, and they would have been hanging out all the time. But because there's that age difference there, it became a little bit of a frustration for Rachel. But by the end of Halloween 4, Rachel and Jamie are together. They are getting along. What they go through in Halloween 4 brings them closer together. And I think that should have been, we should have been able to build on that in the next episode. That doesn't mean that you don't kill off Rachel ever, or you don't kill off Jamie ever. I don't think that they are untouchable per se, but I think she was killed prematurely. And then you surround the entire movie with the feces that it is, and I don't feel anything. I don't feel a fucking thing for her dying, other than that was fucking dumb. But yeah. I hear you. Anna M. Pops, thank you very much, Anna. Says, I think Loomis regretted he didn't kill Myers when he was still captive in Smith's Grove. Ooh, you may be right. Maybe it never crossed Loomis's mind that he would escape. That's why he didn't hesitate to point that gun at Jamie. Oh, there was no hesitation. Loomis was locked and loaded and ready to go. Loomis was ready to go. He was going to kill her. If Meeker had not stepped in, he was going to kill her. Can you imagine? And then that opens up a whole other can of worms. What would have happened? I don't know. But it's interesting. And that gives you some insight into the mind. Now, you do a direct sequel to Halloween 4. Now, later, obviously, Loomis would be dead because he was old then. And I don't just mean the character or the actor, the character would also likely be dead. I mean, if he was alive, the character would be like 100 years old today. So, but what's interesting is that you can give some insight into what happened to Loomis after that. Did Loomis have to, I mean, you get the sense that he was sort of retired anyway, but did Loomis, do you know what would have been, oh my God, do you know what would have been kind of interesting? Although I don't know how people would have felt about this. I don't know, but it's an idea, and it's an idea that I would throw out on the table. Doesn't mean you go with it, doesn't mean you run with it, but how ironic would it have been that the very evil Loomis was trying to stop, that escaped from the sanitarium, puts Loomis into the sanitarium as a patient. Now he's like 70 years old, but he's lost it. He's terrified, and he fucking loses it, and he can't go through it again. That's an angle that you can play with, because the irony and the cyclical nature of that is interesting. I'm not saying it's the right decision. I'm not saying that is definitely what you do, but I think playing around with those ideas make it interesting to me from a writer's standpoint, rather than just the predictable pedestrian sort of nature of, of what it is. I personally think that makes it interesting. I'm not saying that's what you do, but that's interesting and cyclical, So it's almost like it's ironic. The very thing he was trying to kill has put him into the sanitarium. And even though it wasn't Michael Myers standing at the top of those stairs, it's symbolic. It's the symbolism of what it represents overall. Jamie, the evil never dies. It's the evil that is now causing him to break down. It's seeing that child. Oh my God, no. And he's and he's lost it. He's lost it. He has a mental breakdown, a psychological mental breakdown, and he ends up as a patient in Smith's Grove and dies as a patient in Smith's Grove Sanitarium. That's interesting to me from a writing and character perspective. I'm not saying that is what you do. Maybe that's not the right thing to do. Maybe there are better ideas. But if I was sitting in a writer's room and I heard people talking about that, I'm like, yeah, I like what they're doing. They're not just thinking about the same old pedestrian bullshit. They're thinking about arcs and his arc and not Loomis is back again and he's 90. Where is he? Where is he? We're continuing to evolve and I like that. But yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-da-da. Cobra Dojo says, Dave, I love you, bro. But what I'm saying is you claim to love a franchise of which there is only one movie you really love. Sequels matter, dude. No. What I am saying is that I don't love the Halloween franchise. I love Halloween. I've never said that I love the Halloween franchise. And if I have said that, what I mean is that I love the character. I love everything about how I can sit and watch a making of Halloween 5, no problem, because I love all the news. I love hearing about Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends because I love Halloween. But I'm also not going to bullshit you around and say that I like an installment when I don't, or think that sequels are necessary when they're not. They're not necessary. Most sequels are not. That's why most sequels are dog shit. That's why. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't like them, and that's fair. But you're never going to convince me that we need sequels. We don't need sequels. Most of the Halloween sequels are dog shit. Most of the Friday sequels are dog shit. If all you care about, but see, it depends on what your it depends on, what your level of, what you're looking for, right? Do you have, standards? What are your standards? If all you care about are just sequels that keep the character there, whether they're good or not, you don't care. You always hope they're good, but at the end of the day, you really couldn't care less whether it's good. You just like seeing Michael on screen killing people. If that's all you care about, well, then knock yourself out. But I have higher standards than that. And I understand that at the end of the day, you can only make certain amount of films before the novelty wears off and the sensational creeps in, right? That's why horror sequels largely fail and get weird and dumb and fucked up, because they run out of ideas. They run out of ideas to make it believable to the audience that this is organically happening, that this character would continue on and on and on and on. They needed to make Jason full-on zombie by Friday 6, because if they didn't do that, nobody would believe that he was continuing to go on and on and on and on. They needed to do that, and they did. And that's largely why you see a lot of these villains, so to speak, become full-on supernatural, because they need to do, and then weird things begin to happen. Cult of Thorn and, all these things. And it's, if all you care about is just Michael Myers movies, I celebrate that sincerely. And I mean that. But sequels don't matter at all if you care about an organic story that has a beginning and a middle and an end, because all stories have a beginning, middle, and an end. And that's okay. It's actually better that way. It's better that way, that stories end rather than go on and on and on. It's better to go out on top than to go out way past your prime. Yeah, you were good once, and now you fucking suck. And now it's embarrassing. Get the fuck out. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But if all you care about are sequels to keep the character there, well, then I understand that. And I'm sure there are a lot of people in this chat room right now that would say, no, I don't care. Keep making them. Halloween kills, Halloween ends, Halloween returns, Halloween's back, Michael's back. Keep going. James Jude Courtney into his 90s. Do it. Keep going. I just want Michael there. And as long as it's decent and it's, you know, I'm good. I'm good. But see, that's the problem, is that they won't, it's inevitable they will begin to suck. And that's not, I mean, yes, that's my opinion, but it's based on facts. It's based on, it's an informed opinion based on the series that we see. You just have to look at the series. Look at Halloween, look at Friday, look at Elm Street, look at Child's Play, look at Hellraiser, look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The evidence is there. The evidence is there because I care about story. I care about a story coming to an end. I care about things being believable and organic. That doesn't mean that you can't take creative liberties and make them fun and interesting. And, you know, I can suspend my disbelief too. But there always comes a point where I can no longer suspend my disbelief, you know, and I'm just like, this is just dumb. You know, it's eventually the sequels become a shred of what the original was. And that's why I feel the way I do. But to say that I'm a fan of the Halloween franchise, well, I am. I'm a fan of the franchise, but that doesn't mean that I'm a fan of every movie, right? I'm a fan of the IP. I'm a fan of the property. I'm a fan of the character. I'm a fan of Halloween. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to roll over and just pretend that I like every fucking installment that comes out, because I don't. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just saying I think we might have different ideas of where our fandom and our standards lie. I'm not saying you have no standards. I'm just saying that it sounds like you have different standards than I do. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. Thank you, buddy, for the super chat. Appreciate it. Wayne Gotke says, sorry, Dave, but if there is room for a Charlie Bull storyline, there's definitely room for a fully fleshed out Loomis story. Well, here's the problem I have, though, with the Loomis story. I believe that the pinnacle of Loomis's career should be Michael Myers. And I believe that if we go back in time and we start to explore Loomis's backstory, you're going to want to create interesting patients for Loomis to have. And you run the risk of having a patient that is, dare I say it, cooler than Michael Myers. Dare I say it, better than Michael Myers. And you don't want to do that. You want everything to be leading to Michael Myers. And I feel that watching a Loomis series or backstory with him just being him, dealing with random patients that are, you know, somewhat interesting or evil, I don't care. I don't care. I don't need to know about Loomis's story. Of course you could do it. You could do anything. You could do anything. But I don't feel it's needed. I don't think it will make the character any stronger than he is now. And actually, you run the risk of making the character weaker by revealing that he actually has been dealing with Michael Myers type characters his whole life. And if you're not going to introduce other fucked up patients that he's had that can at least, you know, go toe to toe with Myers, what are we doing? We're just watching him check in, check out, and have lunch? I mean, I don't understand what we're doing. We're going to get, okay, we know he was married and he had a kid. All right. You know, it's that kind of stuff that I can fill in the blanks on. I don't need to see it. But it's how I feel. I believe the character of Michael, you don't want to water him down. You don't want to discover that, oh, so wait a minute. So Loomis has been dealing with these kind of characters his whole life, you know, or he's dealt with these kinds of people his whole life. I don't get that impression from him. I don't get that impression from Loomis in the original Halloween that he has ever dealt with anything like this before in his life, even remotely close to it. I watched him for 15 years, sitting in a room, staring at a wall, not seeing the wall, looking past the wall. And then you could say, well, what about the 15 years with him and Michael? But I don't want to see Michael as a child in Smith's Grove. I don't need to see that, because then you run the risk of showing too much. You open it up. You get rid of the ambiguity. You show him as a little boy. Showing him as a little boy in a flashback in Halloween 2 or, the beginning of Halloween, the TV version of Halloween 1. Okay, it's unnecessary, but it's inconsequential, really, at the end of the day. But if we're going to show like Loomis and Myers, that 15 years, you run the risk of eliminating any ambiguity, all mystique from the character, because and I know what it says in the book, but the book it's not canon. Okay. I know what it says about who taught him to drive and all that kind of stuff. But I'm saying we're going to now see something that's live action that will be canon to the rest of the series. And we'll find out how he learned to drive. We'll find out, we'll see the relationship with the nurses and a lot of people like that. Like I said, we live in a day and age where a lot of people feel the need that they want to see that. I don't need to see that because I can imagine it in my own mind. And when you show it to me, you run the risk of showing me something that I never imagined. It's like a book. There's reasons why when people read books and then go watch the movie, they generally don't like the movie as much as they like the book. And it's not always because the movie is worse than the book. Sometimes it is, but in a lot of cases, the movie's pretty darn good. It's just not what you pictured. So when you start looking at the movie, start watching the movie, you're like, I didn't picture him to look like that. Oh, that's not what I pictured her looking like. Oh, that's what his car, that's not what I pictured. And it becomes a struggle because you're expecting to see something that you've conjured up in your own mind that is not being presented to you. And yes, of course, there is stuff we can do with Loomis. I mean, the principle of what you're saying is correct, Wayne, the principle of it. But I think and again, just so we're clear, I'm not saying there isn't material you can do. Of course, there's material. That's not what I meant when I talked about this earlier. I'm saying that I think you run the risk by opening things up unnecessarily to discover all this backstory to Loomis that we don't really need. We don't really need it. And I think Myers should be the pinnacle of his career. Myers should be the strangest, most unusual, most unorthodox, most frightening patient he's ever had. So everybody before Myers would pale in comparison. So then you say, like I said, okay, well, let's do the Loomis Myers thing then. But I don't want all that information revealed. All I need to know is I met this 15-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized what was living behind that boy's eyes is purely and simply evil. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. And I can fill in the blanks because the way he's saying it tells me that he's never fucking seen this before in his life. Like all the patients he's had before have been pretty run-of-the-mill, your typical psychological fucked up. But this kid was special. And I'm like, okay. And I've imagined this my whole, I don't need to then have it presented to me. That's how I feel about it. But I do recognize and I understand that there are a lot of people that don't feel that way. There are a lot of people that in this world of fandom that do want more, that do want it opened all up. Open it all up. Fucking open it all up. Open it all up. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's have a fucking Loomis series. Let's have let's have comics and books and let's just fucking open it all up. And I don't know. I just think there are certain things that are better left to our imaginations because we can fill in ththose blanks ourselves. And that's my opinion on it. But thank you very much for the super chat, Wayne. Really appreciate it, my man. Really appreciate it. DreedMem77 says, Dave, congrats on your 100th episode. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate that. I hate to be a buzzkill, but my mom passed away this week. Please let me know how you got past the intense grief of losing your parents 9 years ago. Thank you so much. Well, DreedMem77, let me first say my condolences to you and your family. Losing a mom is not easy, especially when you have a good relationship with your mom. I assume that you had a very good relationship. So my condolences to you. There really is nothing I can say. I'm going to be brutally honest. There's nothing I can say that will take the pain away that you're feeling right now. And I think to try is moot because there's nothing that I can say. What I can say, however, is that you will get through this. You will. You will smile again. You will laugh again. And there will be days that will go by where you don't think of them. And not because you don't care about them, not because you don't love them, not because you don't miss them, but because, you are accepting the reality of what it is, and you have to move on and live your life. Again, I don't know what kind of relationship you had with your mom, and I recognize and acknowledge that not everybody has a good relationship with their parents. I know several people that wish their parents were dead, and because they're awful people. And I think just because you have a parent that may be your blood doesn't mean that they're your parent. You know what I mean? So I assume that you had a good relationship, or you wouldn't be. I think you'd be celebrating rather than as morbid as that may sound, rather than acknowledging the sadness of it. So I will say, do your best to surround yourself with people that can lift you up through this time. Some friends, family. Take it one day at a time. Allow yourself to grieve. That's very important. Don't let anybody tell you if you need a moment to cry or to talk about it, with friends and family. Don't feel guilty about it. I mean, it's a very real thing, and your life has changed now. What got me through it, and again, I recognize that not everybody has this luxury. I had a very good relationship with my mom and dad. For those of you that may not know, I lost both my mom and dad in 2011 for two different reasons. It was just an awful year. My mom and dad had been divorced for about 25 years. They remained fairly close because they had 4 kids together. But it was crazy. My mom died of cancer in July of 2011. And then my dad died 2.5 months later of a heart attack. Completely unrelated. It's not like they were grieving spouses or anything like that. Or he was a grieving spouse because he was with somebody else at the time. But what a gut punch, right? I mean, that was just crazy. But I always knew what my parents thought of me. And I always knew that they were proud of me. They believed in me. They admired my passion and my, tenacity and my will to never give up on my dreams and all that kind of stuff. And it's not that it was perfect. I mean, but certainly they were very good parents to me. And when I was and that has helped me through the loss of them, because I know if they were here today, they would be saying things like, you have to keep going. You've got to keep going. You've got to keep going, and it has just helped me through those really hard times. I never not knew what they thought of me. I always knew that they were proud of me. So that helped me through it. But again, I understand that that's circumstantial, but I will say that just surround yourself with the right people, allow yourself time to grieve. You will laugh again, you will smile again, and you will get through this. And don't feel guilty when the days come, because they will, where you're not crying as much or you're not sad as much and you find yourself not thinking about them as much. Because not that you don't care about them, but you have to live your life, right? Don't feel guilty about that, because they want you to live your life. They don't want you to grieve indefinitely forever. They want you to live your life, and always remember them fondly and make them proud. Continue to make them proud. And I think that's the best thing. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. So hopefully that has helped, buddy. And I'm very sorry about that. Very sorry about that. And we grieve with you, man. But you will get through it. You will get through it. I know you will. I have full confidence that you will. Okay, let's see here. Moving on, super chat here from Anna M. Pop says, H4 ending versus H5 ending. The Rose versus, that's good. Anna's she's got some wit in her, folks. She's got some wit. Phantom Empire says, for Dreed's mom, condolences, stay strong, gotta go, cheers. Thank you very much, Sean. Really appreciate that, buddy. Mike1072 sends in a $10 super chat and says, great 100th episode. H4 is easily my second favorite of the franchise behind H7. It's a lot of people's. It's Tony Michael's favorite Halloween 4. Now, again, he acknowledges that the original is clearly the best, but it's his favorite. It's like how I acknowledge that Raiders of the Lost Ark is clearly the best Indiana Jones movie. I fucking love that movie. It's amazing. But for whatever reason, my favorite is Temple of Doom. I just get such joy watching Temple of Doom. But I love Raiders. It's the best, 100%. You can have a favorite, but the favorite isn't necessarily what you consider the best. You know, they're not necessarily mutually exclusive to each other. At least that's how I see it. Let's see here. Intel Wild says, DreedMem77, it just takes time, buddy. Sorry to hear about that. Hang in there. Lost my mom about 8 years ago. Yeah, it takes time. It takes time. You know, I mean, if it was just this past week, you know, give yourself that time to grieve. And we are all here with you. Mariana M. Hawk says, so sorry. I also lost my mom 3 years ago. The pain remains, but changes as you do. And with time, you'll find the way of remembering with love, because that's greater than pain. Could not agree more. Very, very well said. Very well said. Evil Alex says, Temple is my favorite and best for me. Love this film. That's funny. Yeah, I don't think Temple is the best. I think it's Raiders, but certainly I think it's just the absurdity of Temple of Doom that I thoroughly enjoy. It's just so absurd. Josh McGrath says, Dave, when was Jason the scariest? Ooh. And do you prefer Jason running or walking? For me, it's part 4, because now he's not just got bulk with an axe. His skin is gray. His nails are black. He's now an abomination. I would say, well, my favorite incarnation of Jason is 2, 3, 4. I mean, that's it. Then probably followed by 6. But when I think of Jason, like the video that I posted yesterday on my channel, right? I don't know if you guys saw it. I was out in my hall here, just outside my studio. And I was saying, what's the first thing you think of when you hear the words Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and the word Halloween? What's the first thing you think of when you hear the names Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers? And I wanted you to comment below, and like the first image that comes to your mind. When I hear Jason Voorhees, the first image that comes to my mind is not Kane Hodder. And no disrespect to Kane, but I've said this before, he's probably the most popular Jason because he was Jason the most, but he was in arguably the shittiest movies, which is unfortunate. It's ironic. He's the most popular, but ironically in the worst films. For me, when I think of Jason, the first thing that comes to my head is not Sackhead Jason, although I love Steve Dash as Sackhead Jason. The first image that comes to my mind would be either Richard Brooker or Ted White. And maybe that's, again, because I'm 41, and although, I mean, the Kane Hodder films did come out when I was a kid, but I wasn't watching them as much. Like, I wasn't really watching Friday the 13th in the late 80s as well. No, I kind of was. I don't know. I think it's because I watched, as a kid, I watched Fridays 1 through 4 the most. That's what it is. As a kid, I watched Fridays 1 through 4 the absolute most, then 5. You know, the Fridays I've watched the least would actually be like 6, 7, 8. You know what I mean? And Jason Goes to Hell. I think I've only seen Jason Goes to Hell like twice in my life. I never subject myself to that atrocity. The humanity is just fucking ridiculous. But I would say, yeah, I would say 2 and 3, 2, 3, 4. Yep, I agree with you on that. I agree with you. Let me see here. Let me scroll back. Frank, you said I missed a super chat. Did I miss one? Oh. Yes, here it is. Intel Wild sends in a super chat, says, I was able to see Fandom Empire's teaser poster for his Halloween fan film, and it looks pretty good. Awesome. Can't wait to see it. Looking forward to seeing it. That's 8 o'clock tonight. If I am not busy at 8 o'clock tonight, I'll make sure to tune in live. But it all depends on what's going on my end. But let's see here. Scroll down. I know a couple other super chats. Mystery Emoji Films says, happy 100th, Dave. Thank you very much, buddy. Says, when Laurie starts crying at the end of Halloween 1, do you think it's because of what just happened, or because she knows that Loomis is looking at missing Myers, or looking at a missing Myers since he can't be killed? That's a great question. I would say that I think it's... I think it's both. I think that you can play it two ways. I think she sort of just knows because maybe she's looking at him standing at the balcony and he's just kind of there and he's not really reacting. But then again, that doesn't necessarily, he may not be reacting because he's just looking at his body. I think, okay, I stand to be corrected, but I think if you were to ask Carpenter, I think he would probably say, no, she's crying because she's in shock, and it's the emotions that she's feeling through everything. Now, like, she feels a sense of safety and a sense of security because Loomis is there. Loomis has just shot Michael 6 times. He's fallen off the balcony. He's gone to look. I think maybe she's just kind of breaking down because she's feeling sort of, but then again, it happens. Yeah. I think it can be both. I really do. I think you can interpret it both ways. And I think there's enough circumstantial evidence at the very least to point to both. Because yeah, she begins crying after, like, they cut back and forth between him looking up to the right and him, you know, Myers being gone and Lorian. Yeah, I think it's, yeah. It's more of the, I think it can be both. I don't think it matters which way you go with it. Now that I think about it, I had to think about it there for a second. But certainly you could, yeah, she could be crying because she just knows. She knows that he's gotten up and walked away. So she's crying, like almost like it's not over, you know, and she's in pain, like, oh my God, please let this night be over, you know? Yeah, I could see it that way. For sure. Let me see. Robert Kitzmiller sends in a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Robert. Really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. Jesker James says at Devontae. Oh, is Devontae Huntley in the chat room? Is Devontae behaving himself? Hopefully he's behaving himself, or maybe it's just somebody pretending to be Devontae. Who knows? Well, Devontae, if you can behave yourself, chat away. Jonathan Nichols says, Dave, have you heard anything about if we will get anything for Halloween Kills on Halloween? Maybe another teaser or a poster. Well, you're not going to get, I think what you will get, I think you will get something. Yes, I believe you will get something. And it's not going to be a trailer, you know, I mean, you never know. But I think what's likely to happen on Halloween is you will get another sort of kind of sizzle reel. I think that's probably likely what you'll see. Very much to what they released last Halloween. Maybe a bit longer. Maybe it'll be not quite as, of course, they want to keep things pretty close to the vest. I could see another sizzle reel. I could see, yeah, sizzle reel, maybe another teaser, 30-second TV spot kind of thing like they released a couple of months ago. Could see that. It's not going to be a full fleshed out, you know, 2.5-minute trailer. That's not going to be till next year. A poster. Maybe. They will do something. They will absolutely do something. But I just think they're going to still play it close to the vest, but give you something to get excited about. You know, dangle the carrot some more, you know, and then you'll see, like, you know, in the font at the end, you'll see, like, you know, 1 year, you know, or something like that. Or, you know, at the beginning, you'll see, like, next year, you know, or next October, you know, or something like that. And maybe it's another kind of spot like they did a couple of months back. I think it'll be something in and around like that. 30-second kind of spot, sizzle reel, you know, maybe some behind the scenes photos, maybe, you know, they might do that. Ones that aren't too revealing, you know, release some behind the scenes photos. Poster. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe a poster, maybe, but yeah, maybe. But yes, I do think there will be something. I will be shocked if there's nothing. I will be stunned if there's nothing. Yeah. I think there is a above 90% chance that you will get something. And I think it will be in the realm of what I'm talking about. But a fully fleshed out trailer, again, it's always possible they could do that. I know people are like, well, listen, they released like this big Batman trailer, and that's a different beast, though. There's reasons for that. Could they release a trailer right now? Well, yeah, of course they could, because the trailer's done. The trailer's ready to go. But I don't think they will. I think they will release something else. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking anyway. But I guess, there's always a chance. I mean, I'll be surprised, though. I will be surprised. Darren Zarzecki. Dave, did you ever notice when Laurie is telling the kids that she killed the shape as she's upstairs? You can notice the shadow of an arm waving, perhaps monitoring to Nick Castle to go upstairs. No, I've never noticed that. Are you talking about the shadow that's on the wall? Okay. From what I remember, it just looks like Nick Castle's shadow walking up the stairs. Like you can see his shadow getting to the top of the stairs. I haven't seen anything that looks like somebody going like this, although it's possible. I will have to take a look. And my man, Darren Zarzecki, if I do see something that looks like that, good eye, my man, good eye, because that is something that I have not noticed. I haven't seen that. So I don't know. I'll have to take another look. I will have to take another look. Let's see here. Super chat from Todd Fair. Oh, here he goes. The perfect ending to Halloween Kills would be they make Frank Riker the director for Halloween Ends. Oh, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, Todd. Frank Riker, the director of Halloween Ends. It's signed, sealed, and delivered, ladies and gentlemen. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Oh, Todd. Boston Kennedy says, best Sandler movie. I'm looking forward to his new Halloween film. Yeah, what is that? A best Sandler movie? I'm not a huge Adam Sandler fan. I would say I really liked his remake of The Longest Yard. I thought that was good. With Chris Rock there and all the football, the WWE guys. Or not. Yeah, some were WWE, some were just, yeah. Anyways, I kind of like that movie. I like Click a lot. I like when Adam Sandler's not being a juvenile delinquent. Like, I can watch Billy Madison for what it is. I can watch Happy Gilmore for what it is. And they're classic 90s fun little movies. But his shtick wore off on me pretty quick. And I think I like Click and The Longest Yard are probably two of my favorites of his because he's not a juvenile delinquent. And Click's got some heart. Click's got some heart. Like by the end of that movie, man, there's a strong moral and a message, and it was, I remember seeing that in the theater. A buddy of mine was getting married and we went to the theater the day before or that night or after the wedding was done or something. And we saw Click. This is 2006. 2005, I think, or 6. 2006. I think it was 2006. Anyway, saw it and I was like, wow, it was actually pretty good. And I'm not a big Adam Sandler fan. So I would say, yeah, Click or The Longest Yard probably would be it for me. Let me see. Scroll. I got a lot of people in here. This is great to see people. Let me see. Mr. Bibby 86 says, is Taking Shape, Developing Halloween from Script to Scream any good? I haven't read it, but I hear it is very good. So if you are a Halloween fan, then definitely, I think, I think you should do that for sure. It's always great to know. I thought Plum was your pal. Talking to Frank. You guys are great. Gary Rangel says, Dave, if Hawkins did indeed survive, oh, he did, Halloween 2018, would it be so interesting to dive into the backstory of his relationship with the OG Charles Cyphers as sheriff? No, I think that would be great. I think that would be good. Yeah, I think, and again, yes. I think I want to know what's going on between him and Laurie, if there was ever a relationship there, and him and Brackett. Yeah, I think that's, I don't know how much exposition you'll be able to do with his character in Halloween Kills, because he was left for dead. He's pretty much alive. We know this. I mean, David Gordon Green pretty much confirmed that back in the spring when he did the Twitter watch party thing. I will say that, but again, I mean, he's going to be wheeled to the hospital. I don't think Hawkins will have a large presence in this movie in terms of being part of the action. I don't get that sense. I've been saying this from day one, like a year and a half ago. I said that this movie will be largely about Tommy and Lindsay and the ensemble taking down Michael Myers. And Laurie and Hawkins will spend the vast majority of time at the hospital. I've been saying that from day one. Day one. And when I say day one, I don't mean 6 months ago. I mean like, a year and a half ago, or at least last summer. And we'll find out if I'm right. But I'm thinking, and the reason why I came to that conclusion is because I'm thinking about characters and I'm thinking about the believability. And yes, you could write it that Laurie enters the hospital with Hawkins and they're there and they get stitched up and like fucking Rambo and then they go back out there. I mean, yes, you could do that, but it's not, there's no believability to it. Like if you're in as bad shape as Laurie is, you're going to be in the hospital for a while. If you're in as bad shape as Hawkins is, you're going to be in the hospital for a while. And for you to be wheeled in only to be wheeled out on some morphine and some stitches like 20 minutes later, I don't believe that. That's hard for me to believe. In a Rambo movie, yeah, because it is what it is, right? You think of the kind of movie it is, right? But I just don't believe that. So I've been saying from day one. Now, I said from day one, before we knew Hawkins was back, I said that Laurie will spend all her time in the hospital. Because if they write it with some believability, you know what I mean? I didn't know. I mean, maybe they're going to write it that Laurie goes in, stitched up, morphine. She's like, okay, I'm ready, and she's strong again and she's back out there on the fight. I mean, it's always possible. But if they have any sense of, I don't know, standards and credibility, they would recognize that that's not believable and that Laurie would spend it doesn't mean that she doesn't escape later or she doesn't do one of the classic Hollywood pulling away the IV and, no, it's too important to me. My daughter's at risk. And she goes, I mean, yeah, you could see that, who knows? But certainly I think we need to believe as an audience that there is a level of recovery, at least some point. She's there for, I don't know, 4 hours. This has got to be something, So, but yeah, Hawkins will be in it. For sure, according to David Gordon Green. Vanderhoff, 66FU says, Dave, the 2 GIFs I sent you should be, the 2 gifts, the gifts I sent you should be at the post office probably today. Today, the one is delivered, open to the large one first. Open the large one first. Okay, buddy, I will do that. Well, I have to head out after this show, so I will pass by my P.O. box and I will check it out. And then if it is there, I will retrieve it and I will post photos of what you sent me on my Facebook page, Many Things Dave McRae. If you're not following me on Facebook, folks, and you do have Facebook, the link is in the description. Many Things Dave McRae. That's where you need to be following me for this channel. Of course, Twitter and Instagram are down there as well. Thank you very much, Vanderhoff. Really appreciate it, man. Anna M. Pop says, what does Michael Myers outside the Halloween season? Or what does he do, I guess, outside the Halloween season? Sleep like Santa? Well, if you're looking at the new timeline, he was locked up for 40 years, right? But yeah, if you're looking at the old timeline, especially between, this is the funny thing, and this is especially between, I think the most comical one, there's 2 real comical ones. The gap between Halloween 2 and Halloween H2O, 20 years. The fuck was he doing? Was he working at Wendy's as a cook or something? Yeah. And the gap between Halloween 5 and Halloween 6. The gap between Halloween 2 and Halloween H2O is laughable. Now I know that they, you don't need to, if Halloween H2O had come out today, the fan base would be fucking nitpicking that thing to pieces. You know it, and I know it. But it came out in 1998, and the internet was relatively in its infancy. It was still dial-up modems, and nobody was chatting online. Nobody was, it's not the way it was. You were still looking up movie times in newspapers. If Halloween H2O had come out today, you would get the audience, and the only explanation to Michael not being around is they never found his body. Like that cop says, you don't think it's actually Michael Myers, do you? They never found his body. That's it. It's a throwaway line. That's it. That's all you hear. That would never fly. That's how crazy fans are today. Crazy. What do you mean you never? Where's he been? Is he a fucking cook at KFC? What's going on? How can he see? Why is his hands aren't burned? He was burned alive. I don't get it. What's going on? Nobody questioned it. I mean, yes, people did. I mean, but not like today. Not like today. So, it's funny you say that though. Yeah. And then between Halloween 5 and 6, it's just laughable. I'm supposed to believe that for some spiritual satanic reason, he was just rendered unconscious lying on a concrete slab for a year. And for whatever reason, whatever magic voodoo shit was done, completely closed off his ability to shit and pee or eat and survive that way. He didn't dehydrate. No, a year. 1 year. It's laughable. It's funny when you really dissect it. But Dave, Rune Dog 34, thank you, buddy, says recently watched Friday Part 7. Characters grew on me. Hodder is awesome. Constant battle. Is this I guess that's a name? Buechler. And associate producer, I want uncut film. Is that the director? I don't know who directed that movie. And maybe I'm not saying that right. I will say that, I will say that out of all the Kane Hodder installments, 7 is the best one. 7's the best one. But I'm not a big fan of Kane Hodder as Jason because I don't think he's got a lot of he's got a lot of horizontal, but not a lot of vertical. And you've heard me say that before. I know Kane Hodder likes to think he's 6'2" or 3 or 6'1" or 2. He's not. There's no way. Look at him look at him. Unless all the women he goes after are also 6'2", there's no way that he's 6'2". I could believe that he's 5'10", 5'11", and boots, you can get him to 6 feet maybe. But he's not. There's no way. He just looks, and maybe it's because he's so wide. You know what I mean? Because that could make him look shorter too. I'm not saying he's short, but I'm saying that, and when you see him at conventions, I've seen photos of him at conventions, he's got quite the boots on. And I think if you look at Kane Hodder's height online, it says he's 6'2". I'm like, he's no way he's 6'2". And if he is, then every woman that he's ever been opposite against in a Friday the 13th fan film, Friday the 13th movie, especially The New Blood and Jason Takes Manhattan, are all like 6 feet then, because they all look like pretty close to his height. I know they shoot Kane a lot from low angles, to make him appear more larger than life, which is good. But there's a particular scene in The New Blood where the girl with telekinesis there, she's in the house and the lights are out or something, or maybe it's not her, maybe it's her friend. Anyway, the lights are out and he's like shows up in the dark, and you look at them and they're like, it just looks like, I don't know. He just looks like he's the same size as them. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. But I'm really glad. But you know what? It's always good though when you can go back and watch a movie that you were like, I don't know, and you actually enjoy it. Or you liked it better than you remember liking it. That's always good. That's always good. Tom Ungarian says, I'm 5'11". He's tall, Dave. Well, he's taller than me. Yeah, like I said, I've seen him at conventions, and then they did some weird camera shit because I believe that when you meet him, he could be taller. I believe that. But look at his footwear next time. Just look at his footwear. And he's never in a pair of Nike shoes. He's always in big boots with quite a heel on it. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's not. I just, looking at him in some of the movies, he looks, and it could be because of his his horizontal, excuse me. He's got a lot of horizontal on him. But I've seen him at conventions. He's been here to Toronto a couple of times. I've looked at him. I've stood not beside him, but I've stood close to him. I'm 5'8", and he ain't 6'2" or 3. I'll tell you that. So I could believe maybe he's 6 foot. I could believe that. But he ain't no, I have a hard time believing that. Swifty the Gamer says, I can't wait to see It's Me, Gregory. Yeah, me either. It's Me, Gregory is going to be great. That's funny. Zachary Azar says, Dave, did you hear about the passing of Diana Rigg? Do you have a favorite movie role of hers? Diana Rigg. Who is Diana Rigg? I'm not familiar with the name. Let me look her up. I might know the face, though. Diana Rigg. Okay. Did she just pass? Oh, she just passed today. That's why I haven't heard it. I've been live when she passed, I guess. Oh, yes. Okay. Amazing, isn't it? So amazing how beautiful. Yes. Okay. Yeah. No, I know who Diana Rigg is now. Yep. She's very beautiful. That is, that's unfortunate. But I mean, she lived to 82. So, she lived a good life. You know what I mean? She lived a very good life. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I would say, I haven't seen a lot of stuff that she's been in. I do know now, seeing the at first I was like, Diana Rigg. Who, do I know that? But see, I'm like, okay, yeah. Like, I see her now. I can't say, I'm looking at her IMDb here. There's a few things I've seen that she's been in, especially going back, her older stuff. But yeah, Julius Caesar. I did see that, but I can't say that's, A Midsummer's Night Dream I did see. She was Helena in that. Yep. I did see the original Midsummer's Night Dream. Yep. Yeah, Diana TV series, Diana Smith. Yeah, I remember that TV series. Yeah, I'm not familiar with her really. I can't say that I would be able to pick out a favorite role. You know what I mean? There's a couple of things I've seen her in, and looking at her face now, and yeah, okay, her. Yeah, that's too bad though. That's unfortunate, but it happens. It happens. She's British royalty. Dave, she's British royalty, for Christ's sakes, Darren says. How dare you not know that? No, she became a dame. So yeah, no, I know that for sure. I know that, my man. I know that. Tristan Baker says, Dave, how old are you? And have you seen the Jaws trilogy? I'm 41 years old. I was born May 24th, 1979. And Jaws trilogy, well, it's a quadrilogy. I liked Jaws as a masterpiece, an absolute cinematic masterpiece, one of the greatest films of all time. Jaws 2, I think, actually is a nowhere near. Jaws 2 for me is like Halloween 2 to Jaws. Or Halloween 2 to Halloween 1 is like Jaws 2 to Jaws for me. So I actually kind of like Jaws 2. 3 is garbage, 4 is even worse. Just awful. Awful. Josh McGrath says, Dave, with Vincent's Jason in the Never Hike series, do you like the Jason design, or is there anything you would change about it? No, I love it. I think it's great. Yeah, no, I like what he's done with it. And the things that he's doing. And I think it's cool. Very, very cool indeed. Swifty the Gamer says, Dave, I also can't wait to see Billy's New Nightmare. That's right. Billy's New Nightmare. Yeah, people have been asking me about Dylan's New Nightmare, and the short answer is yes, it's still happening. But unfortunately, COVID-19 is putting a dent in a lot of things. And I can't speak on behalf of Cecil, but I will say this is sort of the ballpark of what I understand. Now, I live in Canada. For those of you that don't know, I'm Canadian. I live in Toronto, Canada. This is where I'm doing the show from. And Cecil and Vince and everybody, they are American. They live in the United States. Now, obviously, we just live above each other, so it's not a big deal. But Dylan's New Nightmare is shooting in Phoenix. Well, Arizona is one of the, I don't know what the rate is right now, but it was one of the hotbeds for COVID-19. Saw a lot of spikes. And the U.S. in general is having a lot of trouble flattening the curve. Canada is doing better. Now, we have a fraction of the population. Canada has about 40 million people, and the US has like 320 million people. So, I mean, it is easier, relatively speaking, to flatten the curve here. Our borders are closed between our two countries still, and probably will be for the remainder of the year. I don't see it opening, really, especially if we hit a second wave. So we were supposed to shoot Dylan's New Nightmare in May. didn't happen because of COVID. We were looking at August, didn't happen. Possibly September, didn't happen. The last I heard, I think it's being pushed to next year. And don't quote me on that, but I think maybe next spring. And I think that's the right thing to do because of the circumstances. Now, It's Me, Billy is shooting here in Canada. So because we have been able to flatten the curve better, and that doesn't mean that there's not going to be a second wave and a spike where we have to shut everything down again. That could happen too. But as of right now, it's flopped. So what I mean by that, or it's flopped, it's switched. I was supposed to shoot Dylan's New Nightmare first, and then It's Me, Billy. But now it looks like we'll be shooting It's Me, Billy first, and then Dylan's New Nightmare. So yes, Dylan's New Nightmare is still happening, 100%. They're deep into pre-production on it. I've seen a lot of the work that's being done on my Freddy makeup and shit. And I can't tell you much about it because I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say, wow. Let's just say that. So, I mean, they're deep in pre-production and they want to be as prepared as possible for when we do go to camera. But Dylan's New Nightmare, again, looks like it'll be a next year thing. Now, I mean, because we're already into September, I think that's what's likely going to happen. So I know it's disappointing for Cecil and everybody involved. It's disappointing for me too, but it's out of anybody's control. And It's Me, Billy is supposed to shoot at the end of November. That's what we want to do, but it's still not locked in. I mean, if we have a second wave, that may have to be delayed till next year too. So keep your fingers crossed that we can get through this without any more major incidents, which would be really, really good. Macca525 says, favorite Bond movie and favorite Bond actor. I'm not as familiar with the old Bond movies, so I'll say my favorite Bond actor is probably Daniel Craig, just because I haven't brushed up on a lot of them. Although I really do like GoldenEye. I saw GoldenEye in the theater, and I really liked that movie. I really did like Skyfall. I thought that was pretty good. But I'm not as up on the Bond series as a lot of people are. So my answer is kind of pedestrian, like, oh, Daniel Craig is your favorite Bond. Oh, it's because he's the most recent Bond, and it's probably the only Bond movies you've seen. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much why. You know what I mean? Like, I have seen some of the older ones, but that's pretty much why. I can't say that I'm a Bond, expert, and I've seen, oh yeah, everything from Russia with Love and Dr. No and, Octopussy, and oh yeah, I can't. I have no idea. I should watch more of them, though. I really should. Duke Fleet says, Dave, thoughts on the Dune trailer? Great question. I was wondering when that was going to come up. Well, it looks spectacular. But I got to say, what the fucking hell is with this goddamn music? I understand why it's used from the business side, but there's no impact. There's no emotional impact. There's no emotional weight. It's dog shit. Where is the thunderous score to get me excited? Like, where is this? Why do they continue to have these pieces of music that are also whiny and stop it? It doesn't go with it at all. It's a fucking train wreck. It doesn't get me excited or pumped at all. Stop it. Put the theme. Listen, despite what you think of The Rise of Skywalker, I liked The Rise of Skywalker for the many reasons that I have touted on this channel. Okay, we're not going to talk about that. But very few people will argue that playing Duel of the Fates during one of the one of the Rise of Skywalker's TV spots, right? Do you remember that? Now, unfortunately, it didn't appear in the movie, but during the TV spot, right? You know what I'm saying? Was fucking amazing. And did it not get you pumped? And then at the very end, right? You know what I mean? And then you hear like, I mean, Jesus Christ. Yes, that's what you do. I was like, God, yeah, come on, fire. Can you imagine if any of the Star Wars movies, what the fuck are you doing? Stop it. Stop doing that. Oh, I can't stand it. It looks spectacular. It's Denis Villeneuve. Good Canadian director, by the way. He's a Canadian. He's done, I mean, he's got a filmography that he's one of the best directors working today. So it might be a great movie. And it looks fine. The trailer is great in terms of how it looks, and it looks like it's got all this potential. But that fucking piece of music, I could not stand. I never will like that kind of shit in marketing. Unless you're making a biopic on the fucking artist who sang the song, I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Especially that kind of music. Like, get out of here. They did it with Terminator Dark Fate, I'm slowly... Get out of here. What is this shit? God, I can't fucking stand it. Can't fucking stand it. Can't stand it. It looks, when I say it looks great, I mean, it has a lot, it looks like it has a lot of potential. You know what I mean? But I mean, there was no oomph. There was no pizzazz. There was no like feeling that adrenaline. There was nothing there. There's nothing there. So, it is what it is. All right, we'll take this thing to 1 o'clock, and then I got to skedaddle, folks. I got to skedaddle. Jim Dorsey sends in a super chat. Thanks, buddy. Says, the new Walmart H 2018 slipcover officially says Halloween 40 years later as the title. Interesting. Well, yeah. It's a slipcover. It's Walmart. But yes, I saw that. People were posting that. John Melancholy, excuse me, says, hey, Dave, I want your hoodie. What's your favorite Nirvana song? Well, I think I got to go. I don't really have one, to be honest with you. I'm not a fan of Nirvana. But I wouldn't say that I am a huge fan of Nirvana. So, like, I just want to make sure that is the name of it. I want to go to that album. Hang on a sec. I just want to go to the album that I'm thinking of. Okay. Where's your disco? Okay, so it would be 91. Yeah, this one. I want to make sure it's on this album. Yeah, I mean, like, yes, Smells Like Teen Spirit is the classic one, but it's not on that album. Where is it? It's not on that album. Maybe it's the album before. No, it can't be their debut album, Bleach. Huh. Maybe I got the wrong title then. Let's go to their last album. Oh, no. Serve the Servants. Yeah, there it is. Okay, it's the first one on their last album. I don't mind that one. It's okay. You know what I mean? I'm not I picked up the shirt because I like the logo and I like the style and I like the hoodie. And Nirvana it's more to do with the era than it is to do with the band. And what I mean, like, I'm an 80s kid. I'm a 90s teenager. So this is more of a representation of my era than it is my hardcore love for Nirvana. I don't not like Nirvana. I'm just indifferent. I don't like them. I don't not like them. I remember them being very popular. I remember going to school dances with Smells Like Teen Spirit playing, and I would dance to it as well. And it's got a catchy riff and a catchy, yeah. Like, I mean, it's not that I don't like them, but it's more, I saw this shirt and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's a Nirvana shirt. It would be it'd be like, getting a hoodie that said, I don't know, that had like Led Zeppelin on it. Like Led Zeppelin. Now, I do like Led Zeppelin better than Nirvana, actually. But I wouldn't say that I'm a diehard Zeppelin fan. You know what I mean? It's more of it's an era, right? It's nostalgia. It's the representation of an era. That's really why I got the hoodie. So that's really why. Da, 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 da. Let me see here. Aaron Click says, so what you're saying, Dave, is that you are a fraud. No, not at all a fraud. If you have to be a fan to wear shit, then yes, I'm a fraud. Yeah, absolute fraud. But I said I'm not a fan either. It's funny how people make that association, though, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? How people, Dave's a fucking Nirvana fan. Says who? Well, you're wearing the shirt. Okay. You know, I wear New York Yankee hats because I like the way it looks. I like the way it fits my head. It's a cool hat. It's a cool logo. But I'm a Blue Jays fan. It's funny, though. I do find that funny from a sociological perspective. And I get it. I understand why. You see somebody wearing a shirt or a hat, you automatically assume, well, why would they wear it if they don't like it, right? But for me, it's not always about that. I actually sometimes like I like the era and the logo, and it's, again, more of a representation of that. But I don't not like Nirvana either. Let me see. The Lonely Stoner. That's too bad you're lonely. Yes, Come As You Are and Dumb is a classic. Yes. I think I know what you're talking about. I can hear Dumb in my head, but Come As You Are I have. No, Come As You Are. Yes. Yes. That's a good one. Yes, Come As You Are is good. Dumb, I can't hear in my head for some reason. All right, couple more minutes here, folks. David Petway says, I have a Slayer shirt my friend bought me. I have never listened to one song. There you go. Love the shirt, though, because it's dope as hell and it was free. Yeah, that's the kind of thing, right? Like, sometimes you just love certain shit. Like, I would pick up a fucking... I'm not a fan of the Rolling Stones. But if I saw a hoodie that looked really cool and had the big, like, you know, tongue, and I'd wear it. Why not? It's cool. It's a representation of an era. You know, that's kind of the way I am. And then there are things that I wear that I genuinely do like Jaws. Josh McGrath says, Dave, do you like the Batman trailer? And what did you think of it so far? Well, I did. I talked about this on McRae Live last week. I did. I thought the Batman trailer looked fine. I think Pattinson's going to knock it out of the park. But for me, because I just see another dark Batman movie. But it also could be because I don't have the perspective of all the details and nuances that a lot of hardcore Batman fans have. If you didn't tell me that this was not a Christopher Nolan movie, I would just think it was a Christopher Nolan movie. It looks very similar to like a Nolan Batman film. It looks dark, gritty, you know, and I know that might be blasphemous for some people. Like, no, Dave, it's this kind of Batman movie, not that kind of Batman movie. Come on. But I mean, I look at it and I'm like, this looks very cool. This looks very dark. This looks like another cool, dark Batman movie. But that also could be because, again, like I said, I'm not, you know, maybe I'm not seeing the little details that the hardcore fans pick up on, you know. But I'm excited to see it. I'll go see it because I knew Pattinson was going to knock it out of the park, and I think he will. I think he will. And it astounds me that people can... I will never understand why people always... Like, unless it's somebody like Danny DeVito as Batman. Okay, I get it. But, yeah, I knew instantly as soon as they cast him that it was a good decision. It was a wise decision. So, anyways, folks, that is gonna do it for me here on episode 100 of McRae Live. I want to thank my moderators, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Darren Sands, and Jason Nike. You guys are amazing. I want to thank all the super chats, or I want to thank everybody for all the super chats today and non-super chats as well. Folks, thank you so much for continuing to tune in, for continuing to be here and share in our enthusiasm for horror movies and the entertainment industry. Remember, we don't always have to agree. I'm a very strong and opinionated person. I always try to come at things from an informed perspective to give you guys some perspective and some insight into certain things, but we don't always have to agree. We don't always have to agree. We can agree to disagree, and we can celebrate each other's points of view from different perspectives, and that's what makes it kind of fun to do. And always remember, you know, I can be a bit of an acquired taste. I understand that because I can be very blunt and, you know, have kind of strong views on things, but just know that there's usually always a wink behind what I'm saying. Not a wink like I'm not actually meaning what I'm saying, a wink in the sense of that, you know, I'm being satirical. I'm, you know, making all those faces and going to all those extremes and making those funny voices because it's like a political cartoon. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's always some truth in it, of course, because that's what makes it funny. But yes, you guys are awesome, and I wouldn't be here, obviously, if it wasn't for you, because I'd just be talking to myself. So thank you so much, and off to 101 episodes tomorrow, and we'll see where this takes us and see where this crazy ride goes. You guys are awesome. So yeah, in the meantime and in between time, I will talk to you guys soon, and I'll be back, tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Alrighty. Cheers.